Hello, marvelous mothers. Thank you so much for coming to spend your time with me. If you're new here, my channel is a channel I created to inspire, to celebrate, and to inform young single black mothers. In today's video, we'll be discussing something I've been noticing in our community, and that is the violence, domestic violence that's been occurring to black women perpetrated by black men. In this video, we'll be discussing the reasons why this is happening, the effects it's having on black women in our community, and so in turn, it's having on black single mothers. I am not saying that this domestic violence is new happening in our community. What I am positing is that it's become more visible and it's really harming us as a community. And so to get started, I would like to discuss at least two cases of violence occurring against black women. The first is the case of Shanquella. I believe her name is Shanquella Robinson. So she is a young woman, a young black business owner who took her friends to a birthday party trip in Cabo, Mexico. Upon their arrival, everything seemed okay, but by the next day, Shanquella was pronounced dead. She was murdered, allegedly, by one of her friends that was on the trip. So that was just one case. The next is, I forgot the name of this specific victim, but I'll look it up and I'll put it in one of these places. And so with her, she was a young black mother as well, around the age of 25, I believe, and she had two daughters. The father of her youngest child was abusing her in the home. And so I believe she got up the courage to decide whether or not she was going to leave him. And he became so frustrated that he went to her mother's home and picked her up, her and her children. When they got back home about an hour later, she called her sister and her mother, and she left the phone on speaker as she was pleading for her children's lives. The father of the youngest child told her that he was going to kill the children, kill her, and then kill himself. And so he did have a weapon. By the time the mother, which is the children's maternal grandmother, reached her daughter's home, she found one of her grandchildren was in the arms of a police officer, and the other one had sought refuge underneath a vehicle. And so she saw both the father and the mother, which is her daughter, laid down on the ground. And so she didn't think in that moment that her child was dead. And so as the scene unfolded, she realized her child was dead, and that the father, the black man who killed this young black woman, the mother of his child, gave himself up. He didn't shoot himself. He shot and killed her, but then he decided not to kill himself. I bring these two examples to show you they are more serious cases of physical violence, but a lot of the time what we as black women are facing in our homes are forms of violence that do not leave a physical bruise from your aggressor, right? And so those are mental, emotional, verbal, financial abuse, to name a few. A lot of us black women do endure this in silence, because we understand the climate, the racial climate in this country, and we don't want to push things further than and possibly harm the father of our children and his endeavors career-wise to move forward, right? And so we take this pain in silence and we neglect to go and file police reports that could actually help protect us in the future if we do decide to speak up. And just parenthetically, while I am here, I just want to encourage anyone who's watching, if you're going through any sort of emotional, verbal, mental abuse by your child's father, by your significant other, whether that be your boyfriend or your husband, please do speak to the people in your life who love you. Speak to your family members. Speak to your friends, speak to your clergy members, speak to anyone that you feel you can confide in, who can give you sound advice and help you to figure out the best course of action to protect yourself and, of course, to protect your children. One organization I can say that does help with a situation such as this is Safe Horizons. I believe Safe Horizons is a national organization, so you could call them and get information, or if they can't help you, I'm sure they can get you the number to another hotline who can help you. And I encourage you guys, I'm supporting you, I believe in you, you are worthy of being treated like the queens that you are, like the wonderful, marvelous woman that you are, and don't let anyone take advantage of you. We can discuss the reasons I believe this is occurring in our community, right? So the first reason is that Black women are just not protected in our community. We're not. People will watch us, or they will hear that we are being abused, and they will either take the side of our abusers and say we're being over dramatic, or this is just what it is to be a woman and you just have to deal with it. Or they can just not care about you. They can just want to see someone else not be well so that they don't feel as bad for the things that they've gone through, which really sucks, but that's just the world we live in. So that's one reason. The next reason is that men grow up a lot of times in households where they aren't taught how to treat women. They aren't taught how to properly treat their girlfriends, their wives, the mother of their children. They're not taught how to treat them. One, when they do become abusive to these women in their lives, no one stops them. No one tells them, okay, you've gone too far. This is unacceptable. You need to think through what you're doing. Why are you treating her this way? It's not acceptable. Don't do it anymore. Right? They don't have their mothers to tell them not to harm another woman. They don't have their fathers to tell them not to harm another woman. They don't have their fathers to tell them. It's really important to be there when your child is being born. It's really important to be there to hold your child's mother's hand as she goes through this life or death situation. It's important as a man to stand firm and to be supportive of this life that you've brought into this world. And so, because they don't have that kind of support from their parents, rearing them about how they should be a good parent, or if they should be a good man in general, they just do what they feel, unabridged, and it's really sad. And I really hope that changes for all of us in this Black community. Another reason I believe that violence is being perpetrated against Black women by Black men in our households is that Black men are really feeling overwhelmed, and they don't know how to communicate those feelings. They don't know how to process and rectify those feelings, and so they feel this heavy burden, or they feel like they aren't adequate enough, or that they're being upstaged by Black women, and they abuse us because of that, to feel some sort of power, because they in themselves don't feel adequate. And so that's one of the reasons why this is occurring. And if you don't believe me, there's so many resources out there that show you that you can go out and watch yourself of like Black men really denigrating Black women and saying that all the problems that are in this Black community is because of us, and like it's really disgusting, and I don't want it on my channel. So if you want to go and see about these, different channels, that's on you. But I wouldn't recommend anyone that is here to go and partake in that toxic environment. But black men really are out here in this community, just believing the worst of black women. I'm hoping that in 2023, more of these abusive black men will be exposed, so that a real deep conversation can start occurring about what we are facing as women in this black community. Because not only do we have the responsibilities of raising our children, but we're also dealing with so much negativity from all around us, saying that we aren't adequate enough, or we don't do this correctly, or we're too masculine, or we're too soft, or we're not strong enough. But then we also are dealing with all these other forms of abuse in our homes by the men who impregnate us, by the men who are supposed to take vows, by the men who take vows to be there with us and do life with us, and by the men whom we're dating or we're in long-term relationships with. And it's sad. And I really do hope better for all of us as a community. I believe that the world would be a better place if domestic violence stopped, especially from black men against black women, because we don't deserve it. We work hard to provide for our families. We work hard to raise our children. We work hard to survive in this economy, in this racial climate. We have so much burden to carry. And all we really desire and all we really want is to have what God intended. Men in our homes, in our communities, in our businesses who protect us as black women. And so if all these sorts of domestic violence stopped occurring to us, it would free up space for black women to flourish, and in turn for the black community to flourish. And so I implore you, black men, please treat the black women in your lives better. I ask you, my black marvelous sisters, if you're going through abuse, find the courage, pick up your strength, and leave. Prepare, do the preparations that's required, and safely take your child and exit. Because a lot of the times, the abuse won't stop. And that's just the reality of the matter. But you have a choice. You don't have to stay in that kind of environment. You can get up and take your dignity and go. Here are some ways I believe you can help black women who are in these sorts of situations. Believe us when we tell you we are being abused. Believe us when we tell you we are being abused. Believe us when we tell you we are being abused. When you see someone mistreating a black woman, when you see or you hear someone who is close to you or in your family, or your brother is mistreating the mother of his child, his girlfriend, his wife, say something. It's not a secret. A lot of men don't respect women. They only respect their fellow man. So, when you see something, say something. Say it to him. What you're doing is wrong. You should stop. It's not right. If you don't want her, respectfully leave. But don't make her life more difficult than it has to be. As a black man, if you have mistreated or abused a black woman, don't double down on your misdeeds. When you catch yourself or when someone around you tells you it's wrong what you're doing, just stop what you're doing and change your actions for the better. And if you feel it truly in yourself that you cannot change for the better, have a conversation about how you both can best part without it being traumatic for either parties. Finally, if you can help, if you're in the position to help a Black woman who is going through any sort of abuse, ask her, would you like for me to help you? And if she says no, then you sit back and you go on about your business. And if she says yes, then you cautiously move forward, asking her, how best can I help you? And from there, you can have a real conversation about how we can move our community as a whole to a place where Black women are protected, we're valued, we're empowered, we are not being abused. And I think that will truly be a better world for everyone. Finally, the last reason is there's a lot of xenophobia occurring within the Black community. Black men from different cultures get with women from another culture, right? So for example, a man from a country in Africa will come to America and date and impregnate a woman from the Caribbean islands. And so they do get together, they have a child, and then he begins to abuse her in emotional ways, verbal ways, mental ways, financial ways. And in his mind, he thinks it's okay because somehow he believes, because of the culture he comes from, he is somehow superior to her. And that just brings us all down as a community. It does. There's no benefit to us fighting amongst ourselves. And so what I truly do hope for us as a community is that we can see past all the cultural lines so that we can help uplift each other. It makes no sense for us as Black people not only to be dealing with racism, it makes no sense for us as women not only to be dealing with gender inequality in every aspect of our society, but then to come home and deal with abuse from the men who share our skin color. It hurts even more. So I do hope better for everyone, and I'm wishing you all a happy new year. I know it's a little bit late, but I still want to wish you guys a happy new year and a happy birthday to me. I am now 27 years old, and I cannot wait to see what I will accomplish this year in 2023. I have a very special surprise coming for you guys soon. I can't wait to share with you all and to see how we can all support one another in this community. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.